In this video, we explore the beautiful Yellowstone National Park for the very first time, and we catch Old Faithful at just the perfect time. We then visited Triple Play in Coeur d'Alene, where Ben joins Luke and Abigail high up on the rope course. Lastly, we stop at the very fun Riverfront Park in Spokane before finally making our way home after 11 days on the road.
After breakfast in the morning, we set off from Cody, Wyoming, and started driving towards Yellowstone National Park.
Now, Yellowstone is huge. Cody is probably the closest town you can stay at outside of Yellowstone, and it takes over an hour just to drive from Cody to the eastern entrance of Yellowstone. We're inside a mountain.
You see these bikers are making a lot of noise because of the echo?
Oh yeah, they're like...
We drove through some beautiful mountain passes on our way to Yellowstone. I'm not really a big fan of mountains, although the wife here certainly does love them. The views definitely started well before we got to the park, though.
And as we got closer to Yellowstone, the scenery definitely started to feel a little different from our drives the last few days. The landscapes around us just felt so much more majestic and untouched than what we've been seeing before.
That's just a nice way, a souped-up way of saying everything wasn't flat anymore. We actually had bumps and mountains and things to look at. Anyway, we finally made it to the entrance sign of Yellowstone, got our day passes for the day, and headed into the park. We entered on the eastern entrance of the park, and our plan was to drive to the central area of the park to see Old Faithful, before taking the northern path out of the park later on in the day.
We passed by a stretch of the park where it seemed like maybe there had been a fire there recently with some barren trees, but it looked like the area was already rebounding and regrowing. We then reached Lake Yellowstone, which was a gigantic lake in the middle of the park.
We decided to stop by at the Fishing Bridge Visitor Center and take a look around. We stepped out through the back exit of the Visitor Center and admired the lake views. The kids really didn't care. All they wanted to do was play in the sand, since it was basically a mini beach.
After letting the kids play for a while, we hopped back on the road and started making our way towards Old Faithful.
We arrived at the Old Faithful Visitor Center at 1:54 p.m., and the sign on the door said that the next eruption would be in approximately 12 minutes at 2:06. It seemed like we were really lucky in our timing, as the window between eruptions can be from between 1 to 2 hours.
It's kind of incredible that a geyser could be predicted to erupt at such a specific time at all.
Well, I guess that's why they call it Old Faithful. We hurried out the back of the visitor center towards Old Faithful. There was already a large crowd waiting for the next eruption. That's a pretty good sign that we hadn't missed anything yet. We took up a good spot in the crowd to wait for the eruption. It was at this point that doubts started to creep into our heads. I mean, how reliable can a natural geyser possibly be? What if it decides to skip this eruption? I mean, nature can't run on a clock after all.
There were more than a couple of false starts at the geyser, where there will be this small amount of water erupting and then dying down. I was kind of worried that the geyser spent all of its energy on these micro eruptions and wouldn't have a big eruption like it was supposed to at this time.
Are you saying Old Faithful was having performance anxiety?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, it turned out that we had nothing to worry about at all. Because when the real eruption happened, it was something nobody could miss. The eruption was actually quite tall and lasted much longer than anything that we could have imagined. It was pretty impressive to witness, even for me, and our kids were even impressed. And to be honest, they're rarely impressed by nature at their age.
After Old Faithful, we headed to the nearby Grand Prismatic Springs. We could feel the heat as we walked up the path to this hot springs. When the wind shifted towards our direction, it really felt like we were standing in a hot sauna. I can't imagine how hot the actual springs would be to produce that much heat.
We then started making our way towards the north exit of Yellowstone, as it was getting to be a little later in the day. If we had had another day here, we probably would have checked out the Lamar Valley, and probably tried to catch sight of some of the local wildlife in the valley.
We passed by a lot of really gorgeous scenery on this drive out of Yellowstone. The open lands and mountain passes all seem to be pictures out of a National Geographic magazine. The kids aren't that interested in nature and scenery at their ages, but I was more than happy to take it all in.
We ended up stopping by one last visitor center near the northern entrance of Yellowstone, and then we headed out of the park towards Bozeman, Montana, where we were staying for the night.
Even outside the boundaries of the park, the scenery continued to be stunning, particularly the drive from northern Yellowstone entrance to Livingston. Okay, we're officially out of the park.
Don't use her scurry
Hi, Yellowstone.
For dinner, we grabbed some yummy quesadillas at Mr. Burritos Mexican food in Bozeman. It was very good.
The next morning, Luke had noticed that there was a ladybug in our hotel room. We had probably accidentally brought it in the night before. Luke actually really likes ladybugs, so very, very carefully, we captured the ladybug so we can release it safely outside. Alright, we're gonna...
Goodbye.
Let him fly.
Goodbye, ladybug.
Up to the sky.
All right, put it down.
Ready to fly.
Goodbye, our friend.
To
Put it
the
down.
sky.
Put it down. Put it down. On the grass. Let it find its way up.
Go on more adventures. See his real dream. You conquer man. Then make it go on my head and then I'll put it into the grass. He will make it to the top. You will fly, fly away. You just can't hold back.
Goodbye, ladybug.
Goodbye, ladybug. No one step on him, okay?
All right, make sure you don't step right there. Let's go around.
Be very careful.
This will all been for naught.
We then started driving towards our next stop in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Look at all the mountains.
Ooh, it's like Yellowstone again, kind of.
They're layered.
Yeah,
Like Yellowstone again.
super cool.
Kind of sort of maybe.
We stopped at a Chinese restaurant for an early dinner. It was definitely Americanized Chinese cuisine, but it wasn't bad.
After dinner, we headed to the Triple Play Entertainment Center in Coeur d'Alene. The kids have been talking about wanting to try another rope course ever since they did a rope course at Rushmore Adventure Park. And I found that there was an indoor rope course right here in Coeur d'Alene.
Okay, sit down.
Now, at this rope course, Luke didn't meet the height requirement to do the course by himself, so he could only participate if he was supervised by an adult that was next to him at all times. And that's how I found myself getting geared up to tackle the rope course right alongside my children. Of course, Linda could have gone, but she said,
"Oh, I have to document everything, so why don't you go on up?"
as if my documentary skills aren't up to par.
I think Ben was really thrilled about joining the kids high up on the raptors to do this course.
A fun fact, I have an incredibly strong fear of heights.
And up they went. Ben was looking very nervous walking across that first set of obstacles across some very thin platforms. I think things got a little bit better for Ben as he got more used to it, but I don't think he's looking forward to doing that again anytime soon.
Oh no, next time it will be Linda, and I'll be on the documentary team down below where it's safe. Anyway, we tackled the zip line next, and this time, the kids were both jumping into it fearlessly, unlike Abigail's trepidation last time. And they just rode the zip lines over and over and over.
Ended up crossing more of the structures and eventually went up to the third level of the platform, very, very high up. And it looked really darn tall from where I was standing.
It was very tall from where I was standing, yes. Thankfully, the kids finally had their fill of the rope course, and we got them down to the ground and let them try out the Laser Room Challenge, which was right next to the rope course. Unfortunately, this was a bit of a letdown, especially considering just how short the sessions were for the price of the tickets.
After Triple Play, we all enjoyed getting some blizzards at the nearby Dairy Queen. It was around this time that I started to feel a little bit sad that this was gonna be the last night on this road trip.
On our way to our hotel, we saw the most incredible sign. It was a rainbow on full display next to the road that we were driving on. If we hadn't mentioned it before, Abigail is absolutely obsessed with rainbows, and she was super excited to see this rainbow.
The next morning, we had our last hotel breakfast of the trip. They had some pretty good selections at this location.
I would think so.
And potatoes.
And potatoes?
All around high five.
We headed out to one last destination on this trip, which was the Riverfront Park in Spokane. This was supposed to be a sprawling park next to the river running through downtown Spokane and filled with family-friendly playgrounds and activities. And the park definitely didn't disappoint. The first playground area had some pretty cool equipment, and we had a lot of fun there.
Push me when you're ready. Anytime now. Just a nice big push when you're ready to go. Give me that push.
I'm gonna start.
Okay.
There you go. Now you're done.
Right, give me a good push.
Bye. I pushed you. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Boom! An explosion! That's how you think it's covered in ashes. It exploded.
Yeah, is that pretty? Do you see a fish in there? We then walked across the bridge over the river to the next area, which had a merry-go-round for the kids.
It's gonna go fast.
After that, we crossed over another bridge over some very pretty river views on a beautiful clear day.
We arrived at a massive playground area with a lot of tall climbing structures and a whole network of tunnels and slides. Gotta admit, this place was definitely cool, and I kinda wish we had something like this a little bit closer to where we live.
I don't like this. It's gonna make me throw up.
But alas, it was finally time to leave and make our last drive back towards our home in Kirkland.
As we drove across the fields, mountains, and forests of Washington State towards our home, our hearts were definitely full as we look back on this incredible trip that we've had, filled with memories, shared with families, so many firsts that we experienced for the kids. And it's an experience that we won't forget anytime soon. And we'll hopefully always have these videos to look back on when the kids get older.
When we arrived home, we were excited to see our dog Daisy after being gone for so long. After we finally arrived home, we took her out on a walk, and she ran straight to her favorite person, which was our neighbor Ellie.
And in that moment, it felt so wonderful and so right to be back in our own home.
The end.
Yay!